Hey everyone, I am back again and I have a special message for you guys, which has been kind of from my own personal growth and development, and also the people that I get to work with day and day going by. And it's a really key concept around, which are the type of people that we want to cut out of our lives, and which are the ones that we really need to work with, right? And if we were to cut them out, it might actually be us doing that from a fear-driven place, which is preventing us from actually growing in the ways that we need to grow. And so we're not actually becoming stronger. And when we do that, right, when we avoid people or cut people out before we've learnt the lessons that they're here to teach us, then sometimes, we don't actually grow, and then we're hit with another opportunity where, we're running into that same person or somebody who shows up just like them, and we're just right back there in the same old place that we used to go to, because you haven't grown, right? You just thought, oh, I'll just chop that person out of my life and then I won't have to deal with it anymore. But at the end of the day, if somebody outside of you is triggering you, is having any sort of influence and impact on you without your control, then you're really not growing, and that person has got a piece of your power. And so what you want to do is be the kind of person who will always grow and will never be affected by the external world. Instead is really in touch with, ultimately who you are and how you handle things. And at the end of the day, you're taking you wherever you go with whoever that is. And you don't have to be affected by whoever comes into your sphere. All right, so what I want to talk to you guys about today, and I really want you to think about this and kind of apply it to your own life, is, who are the people out there that actually trigger you, right? Who are the people out there that when they come into your sphere or your zone, maybe they throw you off guard, maybe you don't operate in the way that you normally do, maybe you feel intimidated, maybe they make you feel anxious, or you feel anxious, I should say. They're not making you do anything, right? But whatever that is, think about who are the people in your life that you do get kind of triggered by, right? Maybe it's a relationship and there's history behind that relationship and you feel very triggered by that person. All right, there's definitely people in my life that I have been triggered by, and then there's new people come into my life who might spark up a bit of a trigger. But what I want to deal with today is not just avoiding and cutting those people out of your life, but instead using your experience with them to actually transform your weaknesses into your strengths. Okay, and the reason why I say your weaknesses and your strengths and how you can transform by being triggered is that you get triggered by somebody because they have something that you don't have yet owned within yourself, right? So that's why today's message is all about the fact, we don't want to avoid people who trigger us because they have something that we're missing. Okay, so here is one of the most empowering things you can ever hope to do in your life. Instead of doing the weak thing that is, kind of masked with this air of strength, which isn't strength at all, which is this person triggers me, block them, cut them out of my life, they're done, I never want to deal with somebody like that ever, right? Instead of doing that, because in my opinion, I'm somebody who wants to learn and grow, and I don't want other people outside of me to have that kind of power over me. I'm in control of how I feel, how I'm triggered, what responses I have. So if somebody comes into my existence and they're triggering me, or I'm being triggered in their presence, it's not about getting rid of that person. What it is about is identifying, interesting, what is it within that person that triggers me, right? What is it in that person that I don't have, right? And one of these people has come into my life and I found myself getting really triggered, right? Feeling kind of anxious, right? Intimidated. And I was like, well, what is that, right? And I had other people around me say, block that person, get rid of that person, never see that person again for the rest of your life. And I thought about what they were saying, but then I ran it through what I feel is right. And what I felt was right was, you know what? I don't want to be the kind of person who runs away from things in my external world that trigger me. What is that saying about me if I'm getting triggered by that person? And how can I use my experience with them to actually identify a part of me that is, maybe got some wounding, whatever's going on there, and to be able to convert that into a strength so that I can become the kind of person who is strong enough to deal with anybody. Like, doesn't matter who comes into my sphere, they're not going to impact me in any negative way because I'm doing the work on myself to identify that, be totally aware of that, not run away from that, and use it as a personal growth journey, right? Where's my growth here? What do I need to focus on? How do I need to develop myself? And it was amazing. I've been working on this recently and with one of my beautiful coaches, and working with her, I was able to identify that what I was seeing in this person who was triggering me was I was seeing, it was like power, authority, right? And I was like, that's really interesting. Why would I get triggered by somebody who I perceive to have power and authority, right? And what it was for me was I don't like their style of power and authority, right? And so I wasn't owning that power within myself, right? It was kind of a conflict. And I was able to kind of look back through my life and see where this all kind of came from, right? Like there's other people in my life that have been powerful and authoritative, and I was triggered by that. So it's not anything to do with the person. Let me just say this right now. Whoever's triggering you, it has nothing to do with them, and it has everything to do with your internal world, your internal blind spots, some weaknesses for you. And part of mine was not stepping into my own power and not stepping into my own authority, right? So I can utilize somebody in my external world who triggers something in me, and I can look at them and I can go, what does that person represent? Because it's not about the actual person, it's about what you perceive to be the representation that they give you, right? So for me, nothing to do with the person. Their representation was power and authority, and then I can use that on myself and go, oh, okay, I'm not owning my own power, I'm not owning my own authority, right? And so in order to be the person who is no longer triggered by that type of person and what they represent, I need to up-level my own personal power and authority. And I can utilize that person coming back into my life as a means to measure how far and how much I've actually grown in this realm. So can you see how powerful that is? Because if I was somebody who cut ties, right, straight away because I want to protect myself from that person, somebody else like that is going to come into my existence and they're going to trigger me again, or that very same person is going to come into my existence and trigger me again, and I'm at choice point. Do I want to be the kind of person who has to run away from anybody who represents something that I haven't personally owned in myself, and I'm just going to keep cutting ties with that type of person? Or do I want to take the other route, which is to take responsibility for what I'm creating in my own mind about this person and to let it reflect to me exactly where I need to grow within myself, and then go about growing in that exact regard so that next time I'm in that person's presence or in the presence of somebody else who represents that thing that triggered me, then I'm no longer swayed, I'm no longer bothered, right? And I can just show up as my own self, right? I'm not influenced and impacted by my external world because I did the work, right? And I'm not being under responsible for my own reactions and meanings that I make about other people, because nobody outside of you makes you feel anything. Your perception, your story, your mental chatter about that person, about who they are, about what they represent, all that stuff, if you let that drive you, you will become the victim of your own stories, and you'll give away your power, and you'll be under responsible for your life, right? So I'm hoping that this sharing, as always, for all of these messages, I'm hoping that it just triggers something within you in a good way. And maybe I trigger you, say I trigger you. Then you can look at, what is it that Vanessa represents that triggers me, right? And then go about looking at that and owning that instead of running away from that. I hope I don't trigger you guys too much, but if I do, I know you guys are all totally growth minded, otherwise you wouldn't be watching a video like this, and I'm hoping that I just gave you a gem, whatever it is. So think about that one, guys, and I definitely want to be checking in with you guys. So have you got any words of wisdom? Have you got any experiences that you want to share? Or just drop me a comment and say hi. And if this message is of value to you, please do share it in groups, on your own page, privately. I don't mind. I just love it if you do find some value. If you can share it, it is the greatest gift that you can give to me, because I might get to meet and connect with some other extraordinary human beings as well. So let me jump in and check in with you guys. I've got Simon in the house, awesome. And Satparosh, good to see you, and Alex and Nick and Bikram and Ellen and Zena. You are so right. Thank you, Ellen. Grateful that this one is resonating with you, and always love having you here. Zena, yes, loving that this one was resonating with you. And Daryl, oh, love it. A champion is one who gets up when he can't. Jack Dempsey. Thank you so much, Daryl. I love, love, love your quotes as usual. And I love that. Absolutely. And we can apply that to what we're talking about today. Don't run away. If you're triggered, get back up and go to town. Don't be the kind of person who gets knocked down time and time again. Instead, find the growth path, find the evolution from what you're being triggered by, and use your experience with that person who triggers you and what they represent to help you to transform your weaknesses into strengths. All right, so that's the whole journey. And once you do, utilize that person as a measurement, as a way to measure how much you actually have grown and developed, because they're not triggering you anymore. All right, so love that. And Muhammad is here as well. And thank you for all the love hearts. I'm loving that, Ellen. Thank you. And Jerry, hi, Vanessa, from Via Rail Canada train station, Quebec City. I love it. I guess through our authenticity and inner intuition, we get the feel and perception. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love talking into the system that is you. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, uses a really good tool which is called the NLP communication model. You guys can Google it. It shows you a really amazing system of how the mind works, and I've actually done a masterclass on this as well. So any of you guys who aren't currently part of the Limitless Potential Academy and you want access to amazing tools and deep dives that you can apply to your life, and that's just one of them, the NLP communications model, to see how your mind is working and operating, then you definitely want to join us. So shoot me a message, I'll hook you up. And absolutely, so what we're really talking about here is, it's all about what you're making up in your own mind, right? That person is not doing anything to you. It's what you make it mean, right? So there's a whole system involved, which is really, really powerful. But yes, Jerry, absolutely. There's a lot going on that we're perceiving about that person, but they're not controlling what we perceive and what we make things mean. We're in control of that. So hope that that's helpful, Jerry. And Zena, so good. I do this whenever I'm triggered. It's very healing. Zena, that is so amazing. I absolutely love hearing that. What a beautiful journey that you're on. And we absolutely need more of you in this world who are willing to take responsibility instead of placing the blame and trying to change other people. Everybody is here just as they should be in order to serve you and your own personal growth. As soon as you take responsibility and stop thinking it's up to other people to operate in a certain way, that is the time when you will actually step into a new level of your potential and a whole lot more of your life. All right, so I love that, Zena, and thank you so much for sharing. And Shamim is from New York City, my favorite city in the world, actually. I love that. And Monica's here as well, and Glenn. Nice work, Vanessa. Thank you so much, Glenn. Great to have you here, my friend. Hope you're doing really well. And David's here as well, and Ty, awesome. And Shamim, I watch, from Pakistan. Awesome. I love that. That's so cool. Place I have not yet to go yet, but hope you're enjoying today's message. And Laurie, is it our ego that plays a role in this process? Yeah, so you can look at it that way. I like to actually, because there's a lot of misconceptions about what your ego is. There's a lot of different explanations or definitions as to what the ego is. I like to look at it in terms of the meanings that we make. So your ego is more about your personality, right? So who you believe yourself to be. It's kind of the mask that you put on in this world in order to survive, and in order to differentiate yourself from everybody else. So absolutely that can influence, because you have a set of standards or you have a set of rules as to how you operate, as to how other people tend to operate, or should operate in your mind. And that can definitely impact who triggers you and who doesn't. But yeah, I like to look at it as looking at what you're not owning within yourself, right? So there's going to be people out there who piss you off and trigger you, right? And instead of thinking that's a horrible person that I don't want in my life, it's about going, what does that person represent in my own mind? Because you've made a meaning. We're all categorizing people. We're all putting people in boxes, right? And there's something about that person. They represent something that you dislike, right? That triggers you. And what we need to do is realize that that trigger is pointing towards something within yourself that you need to develop, or you've got some wounding there, right? So mine was around, personal authority and power. And I was being triggered by somebody in my life who I thought was hugely authoritarian. I didn't like the way that they operated. I felt like they were bringing people down. And so I was getting this like trigger from this person, like I don't like what they represent. But what it showed me was that I wasn't stepping into my own power, and I needed to have a bit of that power, right? And that's why I was getting triggered by it, because it was shining light on something within myself that I wasn't stepping into. And it also has helped me by identifying that to go, that's the kind of leader I do not want to be. And how do I want to step into my own power and become the kind of leader that I'm not seeing step up in a great way, the kind of leader I'd be truly proud of. So it's been very beneficial for me in my own personal growth. And I hope that me sharing that, Laurie, has been of value to you. I so appreciate the question. And Maria's here. Awesome. And Susanna and David as well. And I love it. And Shami, I don't know Pakistan. Can't wait to get there one day and check it out and have probably a massive culture shock, I'm sure. And Amal is here, and Filippo. And I love that. Love that. Awesome. Laurie and Susanna, I love that you guys are connecting. That's always warms my heart when you guys are kind of building your connections. Awesome. And Angela's here as well. And Zena, what about when a person has done something harmful to others and that triggers you? How would you see that? Awesome, Zena. So yeah, absolutely. Well, to be honest, that's actually what I was getting triggered by. But what that person represented was a form of control, a form of power and authority that triggered me, because I could see that they weren't using it in a way that I would feel proud of myself for using it. And so it's about looking at what it represents behind it, and then allowing it also to create a bigger, a clearer version as to the type of person that you want to be, right? So if somebody is being harmful to others, you might see this is exactly what happened to me. So Zena, I saw somebody who was being very harmful to other people, and I was very triggered by it. And then I saw that that person represented power and authority in a very dark way. And I thought, oh, where's my power and authority? And how do I want to make that power and authority show up in a light way that I'm really proud of, right? So it helps you get clearer about who you are and the type of person that you want to move towards as well. So hope that that is of value to you, Zena. And Laurie, thank you so much. A fabulous reminder that when we know better, we do better. Absolutely, Laurie. I love that. And thank you so much for showing up and contributing to today's conversation, all of you guys. I really, really appreciate it. And grateful that you're finding value here. And Lombardo. Hi Vanessa, thanks for sharing. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow and to learn. It's important to be surrounded by positive people. You got it, my friend. And that's why I'm really grateful for each and every one of you guys who show up on a video like this and contribute to the conversation. And any of you guys who aren't currently part of the Limitless Potential free community Facebook page, you're definitely going to want to be if you want to be surrounded by some incredible positive people who are absolutely reaching for a new level of their potential. So I can link you up after I get off today's session. And thank you so much for sharing that, Lombardo. Appreciate it. And Shamim, thanks for replying on comments, always, my friend. And thank you for commenting. And Zena, oh my God, so good, thank you. That helps a lot. Oh, totally amazing that was of value to you. Thank you so much for letting me know, Zena. Oh, love you guys. Thank you so much for contributing today. And I really hope that today's message really, really resonates with you and really empowers you to not be the person who avoids the challenging people in your life. And instead you go, that person really triggers me. What is it about them? What are they representing? So, and what is that part within me that I'm not owning? And how am I going to go about doing so, right? How am I going to grow into the person who is strong enough to deal with anybody rather than the one who has to avoid and run away from people and just keep creating the same old scenarios? All right, so as always, guys, I am sending you all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you to wherever you are in the world today. I really do hope that it's beautiful, amazing, and extraordinary, that you're doing something super empowering, and today's message has definitely served you. And thanks again to everybody who could join me live and contributing your comments and your questions and your words of wisdom and your experiences. Always means the world to me. And please do share this if it has been of value to you. Greatest gift you can give to me. And Shamim, we are waiting for you for your visit to Pakistan. I will definitely get there one day. I can't wait. I do love my travel and exploring new parts of the world. So thank you for showing up today, Shamim. And Moises, thank you so much for your beautiful compliment. Great to see you. And any of you guys who are just joining me now, I hope you catch the recording. I hope you get a ton of value from today's message, because I'm signing off. I'm sending you guys all of my love, and I'll see you tomorrow.